Okay, so the time I'm recording this, I finally finished 500. Technically 516, but I finished 500, and I want to make a video on halfway, or like before the time skips. Just want to make an entire video on that and what I think about One Piece so far. But let me tell you what I actually really like, and honestly, there is a lot of spoilers here, so please, again, leave. And I honestly, if you want to watch this anime raw or something like that, just leave. Don't watch this video at all whatsoever. But anyways, let's just talk about One Piece. So, starters, they arrive at this place called Saboti, and pretty much what they do is they go ahead and just practically, one punches this guy, and practically gets in trouble by, I think, these, like, government people or something like that. And these people, later on, we discovered that they pretty much own slaves, and they, even actually early on, that they don't like humans, okay? And not humans, they don't like fishmen, or even mermaids, to the point where they're kind of like discriminating against them, which is, I'm pretty sure it feels like it's going to be in a bigger arc, because in the Island of Woman, we also meet this woman named Hancock, and practically, and yes, by the way, that's her name, but anyways, practically Hancock pretty much is the most prettiest woman alive, and she was a slave. And that's why, by the way, fun fact, she doesn't go ahead and have like the little backs, you know what I'm saying, that back, she has like that back mark, that weird claw mark or whatever, which is really weird. But honestly, I don't know why they have something like that. It feels like really weird to the story, because it feels like, when it comes to like these markings, it would be better to have some sort of like different marking than that, in my opinion. But honestly, I don't know. Now, honestly, my favorite part of Saboti is when it came with Kuma, right? When Kuma appeared and everyone was in trouble, and he pretty much, how do I say this, bitch slapped everyone in the face and put them in a whole bunch of different islands. Now, honestly, the story does take place where, it doesn't really focus, in the beginning, it really doesn't really focus a lot on, Nami and stuff like that. It only focuses on Luffy, which is honestly really, really awesome. And it just focuses on him getting to his brother, because he's going to go ahead and get assassinated. And honestly, I hope, and I mean this on the bottom of my heart, I hope that he lived, because when it came to this part, right, and when Ace died, and when all of these stuff happened, right, when it came to that part, it does feel like they killed him off really soon. And honestly, in my opinion, it was sad. It was like really, really, like, you know what I'm saying? I was crying in it. But seriously, I'm not even kidding. Like, I was crying in it. But overall, when it comes to this entire, arc, I do feel like he should have lived a little bit longer, in my opinion, because it's just, I wanted to see more of a relationship when it came with Ace and Luffy, right? And at the same time, when it came with that, right, obviously I get it, he's going out and adventuring and stuff like that, but it would have been really cool trying to see some sort of relationship when it comes with that. But honestly, when it came with Ace and Luffy, obviously Ace, dies and all that stuff, it kind of really did, A, break my heart, but also B, kind of made his purpose kind of like, sure, he didn't like stop Blackbeard, right, in a way, but it kind of gave him, I guess, more purpose. And I guess it was well written when it came with his death. But at the end of the day, when it came with his death, and when Blackbeard and all of these characters come in, honestly, Ace, I just wish he just didn't die. I mean, it's just one of those things. Now, Whitebeard, the One Piece is real. Yes, that was goated. And honestly, dude, One Piece, they just wrote that. They wrote that. And honestly, when it came to Whitebeard and his death, it was so amazing. He had this giant battle. It was literally just this giant battle. And he just, the way that they write Whitebeard's death is, my opinion, a lot better than pretty much any other death in anime that I've really seen, besides Itachi, in my opinion. I think Itachi and Whitebeard, it kind of rivals with them, because the thing is, Whitebeard's death was so necessary. It's just, I don't know what it is, but it was just so necessary. I also love the entire foreshadowing when it came to the Marineford, right? In the beginning, people were like, yeah, there's going to be war with Whitebeard in Marineford. And at that time, I'm pretty sure, when it was written and people was watching, they didn't know what to expect, but, some sort of insanity going on. And that's what happened, right? But it got into the point where I think it really, really did match up with our expectation and be like, yeah, this is pretty cool. Like, you get what I'm saying? But when it comes to like foreshadowing, when it comes to like certain things that foreshadows, a lot of the stuff that they do mention, like even like the rope, that foreshadows in episode 1000 or something like that, and all these awesome stuff. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't look it up, because you're going to have a giant spoiler when it comes with that. Again, don't look it up. But when it comes with a lot of these foreshadowing, in my opinion, it was really, really well written. And especially when it came with the war. The war did foreshadow a lot. How did it foreshadow? Because they literally said we're gonna have a war. But the thing is, at least for me, I didn't expect to see a war right off the bat, right? Or at least I didn't expect to see some sort of, like some sort of war when it came with Whitebeard this soon, right? But the fact that they did it, and the fact that they kind of really, really pushed it in there and be like, yeah, we're gonna fight, we're gonna see how you like it, Whitebeard. You know what I'm saying? It kind of felt A, necessary, but also B, kind of unexpected. But at the same time, it just felt kind of cool to watch. All of the most powerful people fighting one another. Now, also, I absolutely loved the flashbacks, especially when it came with Luffy, Ace, and Sabo, I think his name. I really did, and it was really, really sad, bro. I could not, dude. When it came with that part, I really couldn't stop crying, because it was such an amazing scene, in my opinion. I really, really did love it. We're also introduced to something called hockey. I still don't know what it's about, okay? I really don't know. It's pretty much like a power, like the devil fruit or something. Devil fruit, okay? It's like a power with devil fruits and stuff like that. And like I said, I really don't know much about it, but I'm pretty sure, I think they said that Luffy had something called the Conqueror's Hockey or something. My guess is there's probably more than that. I did spoil one of it. It's called Observational Hockey, but even then, I'm not really entirely 100% sure when it comes with these hockeys and stuff like that. But I really don't know what like it is exactly. I hope they explain it later on, but I do really like One Piece how they don't really explain it. They just show it to you. And honestly, when it came with the hockeys and stuff like this, I do think that this is something that's like within the powers of themselves, not the devil fruit themselves, which is pretty cool. Now, honestly, I wasn't expecting also to get hockeys really soon. I was actually expecting to get it before the time skip, at least when the time skip happens, and then we get it. You know what I'm saying? I would have expected something like this, because when it comes with hockeys, it feels like it's just one of those things that's like really, really powerful. Now, I know, like, I think in the beginning when we see Shanks, not like in the very beginning, but like the second or third time when we see him, we pretty much see him walking, and his hockey kind of being activated, if that makes sense, because his aura was so strong, it pretty much knocked people out, which was pretty, in my opinion, badass, because holy cow, dude, that scene gave me the chills. Like, it gave me chills, right? Now, when it came with, hockey and stuff like this, like I said, I wasn't expecting anything like that. Another really cool fight that I wasn't really expecting to get, but honestly, I really loved it. It was the one where, and I don't remember his name, it was the purple guy, where he was summoning in purple, dragons and stuff like that, and they were poisonous. It was such an amazing fight, in my opinion. Early on, when they were fighting, Luffy was like, yeah, we're gonna die, and he practically recovered like a champ. Like, sure, he got help, but still, that was insane. I also wasn't expecting a certain company of Monkey D. Dragon, which I never thought Monkey D. Dragon would be, revealed something like this a little bit too, like this early, right? When it comes to a character like this, and even when it comes to Oda, it feels like it's just one of those characters where he's just going to be forgotten for a very long time because he's a very powerful character, and then boom, revealed, right? But I wasn't expecting where we're going to see him not only, a second time or a third time, we're going to see him, multiple times. And it feels like it's kind of foreshadowing something like this, where he's probably going to appear, but later on in the series, he's probably going to reveal more of his, like, powers and stuff like this. I know he has a devil fruit. I did spoil myself that, but I don't know what it is. And honestly, nobody does, so I literally don't know. But overall, when it comes with One Piece and with the entire 500 episodes, obviously, it was one of my favorite freaking scenes I've ever seen. It was such an amazing thing. Obviously, I did not mention the time skip. Time skip was also awesome. I did like how Luffy was the one who's like, you know what, we gotta separate because this shit, we're all gonna die, right? And it was foreshadowing, and like even in the Thriller arc, and even Zoro telling him we cannot be doing this. And overall, in my opinion, I really did enjoy the entire anime. Anyways, what do you guys think of One Piece? And overall, I'm not gonna be watching One Piece for a very long time. I think that's the reason, because you know, when it comes with the anime, I watch it on Netflix. The time I'm recording this, around 850 episodes are in Netflix, and then after that there's like 100 other episodes that's completely missing, and I don't want that, and you don't know when the next episode is going to come. So I would rather just wait until at least that 900 episodes or something and then watch it, because I'm the type of guy where I'll watch something to the point where, you know, I'll literally just watch the entire thing within a month. You know what I'm saying? I watched Naruto Shippuden within that month time. I'm not even kidding. I've also watched, you know, I mean, it was during COVID, let's be honest, but I still watched some crazy stuff, you know what I'm saying? That was like supposed to take probably years to watch, but at the end of the day, it's like, it took me, what, several months to watch, be like, oh, I'm done. Because when it does come to One Piece, I do like to watch it, especially like, you know, when I do certain stuff, or like I like to multitask when I watch stuff like that. So I don't really want to watch One Piece right now. I think I would rather take a break and just, you know, I'm like, you know what, let's watch this a little bit on my own time. But overall, I really did enjoy the entire arcs, and honestly, it was such an amazing One Piece. I mean, such an amazing anime. You know what I'm saying? I might actually go ahead and rewatch before I hit the time skip, because I do feel like I did miss certain stuff when it came at least to that 400 to 500 range. And before I do want to like go ahead and like, you know, go ahead and be like, you know what, I'm gonna watch episode whatever. You know what I'm saying? I would rather just watch. You know what I'm saying? Rewatch the entire thing one more time, trying to just click this in my head, and then I might just watch, you know, at the end of the time skip or something like that, and just to see, you know, what happens. But overall, what do you think about this anime? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Overall, I really did enjoy this, and honestly, I really had so much fun watching this anime. This anime, bro, we need more episodes, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think about One Piece. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. Make sure to like and subscribe. It would help the channel a lot. And again, see you guys later. Bye, guys.